So guys, someone wrote this in a comment, and I thought it was kind of a good one. I've been watching your videos about the stock market, so what's happening with Gamestop stock? In the last two videos, we've been talking about introducing your kids, when they're old enough, to stocks and financial concepts. In the last 2 weeks, we've got big news in the world of investing. Everyone's talking about Gamestop. In this video, I talk about what's going on and why it's relevant to our kids. I'm going to assume, first off, that you have a basic understanding of what the stock market is. If not, my last two videos provide a quick introduction, and you can find them here, if I'm pointing right, and also here. Okay, so what's going on with these GameStop stock prices? This company sells video games. They've been around for over 20 years, and they mostly sell out of stores and malls. Problem is, people aren't really buying many games at mall locations anymore. People buy them online. They download them. So the GameStop company isn't really doing as great as they used to. So why did the stock value go up like a rocket and then fall like a stone? And by the way, if you like this topic, I ask you to help keep the YouTube algorithm just a little bit happy. Please give me a thumbs up, and that way YouTube will serve this video to other parents. And by the way, I do thank you for that. Okay, so here's what's happening. This stock has been going through what we call a bubble. It's a stock price bubble. Just like blowing a bubble, the stock price gets bigger and bigger. And we all know what happens to bubbles when you blow them up and they get to be too big. They pop. And that seems to be what happened to GameStop stock. Now, real quick, why should we talk to our kids about financial stuff? In this case, the stock market bubble. Because it's great to help them acquire, as they grow up, something that I call financial literacy. It makes it easier for them as they get older to understand the concepts of responsible investing. And you know, kids grow up fast. I don't need to tell you that. But one day, they're learning how to read. The next day, they're getting their driver's license. And the day after that, it seems like they have a 401k. So learning about this stuff a little bit, age appropriate, when they're young, can be helpful in starting a foundation that can grow later about investing. And in this case, when we talk about a bubble, we don't want our kids getting caught up in an investment that's going to just pop and they're going to lose money. What happened with GameStop stock is not uncommon. And these things, bubbles, occur in other investments as well, which we'll talk about in just a minute. So let's take a look at this bubble thing, and I'm going to give an example that all kids can easily relate to. When our kids are young, there always seems to be something that's kind of a hot collectible. It's some kind of card, it's a stuffed toy, it's a talking Elmo, some sort of robot. These things change year by year, but these are many things that kids get interested in. They buy them, they trade them, they collect them. For this example, let's pick a collectible. Let's say it's a Pokemon card. These have been around forever, but still they are collected by some kids. Some Pokemon cards are very, very common. They print a ton of them, easy to find. Others are less common, and some are very rare. They are very hard to find, and people will actually pay money for them because they are so rare. So let's pick one of these rare cards. So let's say it's the Pokemon character called Alakazam. This card is so rare, most kids have never seen one, I don't think. But years ago, let's just say that your daughter got one of these cards because she had a collection. Lately, she's gotten kind of bored with her collection. She wants to sell her cards so she can get money to buy an Oculus too. So your daughter, Jessie, let's say, that's her name, tells another kid in her class that she will sell her Pokemon card for 10 bucks. Probably worth a little bit more. So your daughter agrees to meet this person tomorrow and bring in the card. So riding into school, Jessie tells a kid next to her, let's say that kid's name is Wyatt, that she has with her an Alakazam card. Wyatt excitedly asks to see the card. Pulling it out, he turns to the kid sitting behind them and says that Jessie has an Alakazam card. Do you want to see it? And then Wyatt offers her $12 on the spot for the card. But the bus is just pulling up at the school at that point. So now what happens next is pretty simple. But let's have a little fun with it and sketch it out. Okay, so Jessie comes to school, and so she's over here. She's planning to meet the guy she was going to sell the card to. There's the card right here. And it turns out that she also has this kid Wyatt, who she saw on the bus. He's kind of excited. And a couple other kids came in who were also on the bus. And they're just kind of seeing what the action is, and they have some interest as well. There's this really, really tall kid over here. And so Wyatt says, like he said on the bus, hey, you know, don't sell it to that other kid. I'll buy it for 15. But now the other kids are getting interested. This guy says, hey, I'll give you 17 bucks for it. This kid over here says, I will give you 20. And the tall kid says, let's see, can I fit this in? I'll give you $20.50. So this is what happens when you get a bunch of people together who are all trying to buy the same thing, which in this case is a Pokemon card. The price goes up. It's exactly like what happens with a bubble. So what we just saw here, well, this is pretty much what has happened with GameStop stock. A large group of people, driven by social media from Reddit, all wanted to buy the same thing. In this case, stock in the company GameStop. Now, I know this is a complex story with a lot of different angles, including hedge funds on Wall Street, et cetera, but I'm just going to cover the bubble part of this story today. So the price of the stock moves up. Then, on social media, people start publishing comments like this. I bought GameStop at $35 a share and sold it at $300 a share, and I made over $1,300. More people read these types of stories and they get motivated to buy GameStop stock themselves. They think, hey, maybe I can make money. Demand increases. And just like with the Alakazam card, the prices rise. So this becomes kind of a feedback loop. More people come into the market to buy the stock and drives the price up even higher. But wait, what normally makes stock prices rise? Prices usually rise because of the expectation that the company's doing well. They're making money. And this isn't the case here. The price is just being driven up by buying, and this is why it's called a bubble. The stock price is being driven higher and higher with the expectation that more people will buy stock and drive it even further. There is a term for this, and it's kind of funny. I like this term. It's called the greater fool theory. That is, people are hoping that there is a greater fool out there that will pay more money and drive the price up even more, and so on and so on. But what eventually happens? The stock price bubble pops. The price goes up and up and up. And then finally one day, there are no more greater fools. People decide to sell. The price drops. People see it drop, and all of a sudden everybody starts to get worried, and all these stock owners start selling at once. They're all running for the exits. As people start selling, the price goes lower and lower, and eventually the stock goes down to its natural level. The bubble has popped. Now, what effect does this have on buyers that bought into the stock at maybe $200 a share, and now it's worth only $35 a share? Well, quite simply, they've lost a lot of money, and that is painful. Now, this is really an important financial concept, and it can save you a lot of woe if you can recognize a bubble. And as I mentioned, there are other things or assets that can also become bubbles. In addition to talking Elmo and Pokemon cards and stocks, real estate can also become a bubble phenomenon. Prices rise, other people buy property, prices rise even more, and eventually they can settle back to their natural level, and you can lose a lot of money if you can't recognize a bubble like this that is happening. And it's tricky to recognize it. And in the example of real estate, sometimes you need a place to live. I mean, you've got a new job that you're going to somewhere. You've got to buy a condo or house, and hopefully you're not in one of these bubble situations. So this concept is just something that's good for our kids to be aware of as they get older. It's hard to spot a bubble, as I mentioned, but being familiar with the concept gives us some useful knowledge that can be helpful to see them when they do occur. So this video has been kind of wide-ranging, going all the way from Pokemon cards to GameStop stock. But talking about bubbles is useful. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope to see you on the next one.